Welcome back to Concierge TV, your place to enrich your life through stories, rituals, and collective wisdom. I'm Heather Porter, and this week's episode is all about our most popular blog post of the week on livesofawoman.com. And that post is, are you asking the right questions? So I have one question for you. Are you ready to get stuck in to the future female? Are you asking the right questions? By the way, I wrote this article, and I wrote it because when I worked for Tony Robbins in the past, I really liked something that he said. Your life is in direct relation to the quality of questions that you ask. What does that actually mean? Well, imagine this. If I ask the question to myself, what do I want to learn? It's very open-ended, it's not very specific. What if I ask my question as this, what do I want to learn in order to start a business? You see, so the quality of question number 2 is much better than question number 1. I think that a lot of people are actually not asking good enough questions. And the reason why is I was actually told when I wrote my Kindle book for Amazon, I needed to write it at a 4th grade vocabulary level. And that's because the masses wouldn't easily be able to absorb it. And you know what? It kind of makes sense. If you think about pop culture and the Western culture that we're all brought up in, universities, people don't go to universities anymore. And universities in the past were where people learned how to think, ask questions, and learn about philosophy. Nowadays, through pop culture and text messaging, everyone's getting a little bit, unfortunately, dumber. Let's face it, we are. And here's another reason of why I believe that. If you look around the internet, people are sharing stories, posts, without actually questioning the source. There's actually been recent stories of even news websites that are reposting stories and posting stories where they actually have never, trusted or questioned the source in the first place. So they're actually spreading information that's not true. So I have one question for you. Actually, question number 2, because I already asked you one. Question number 2 is this. As you go forward in your day-to-day life, consider the questions that you ask. Are you asking the right questions to live a very happy and fulfilling life?
Hello, I'm Di Morgan and welcome back. No excuses, this is real life. And I think the real life stories come out with me, I know, and one of them was when I was a little girl, a lot of teachers expected me to be just like my big sister, and she was extraordinarily bright. I'm not saying that I was stupid, but I wasn't intellectually bright and read off a page and then be able to recite it, and my sister could do that. She was amazing. So with me, the teachers expected me to be like her, and I was my own person. You're your own person. And then I chose to kind of rebel a bit and give them what they thought I was. But in saying that, I also wanted to prove to them that I was an incredible person and that I could be anything that I wanted to be. And so I did that. I climbed the corporate ladder. I didn't have a degree. I became a national marketing manager because I worked really hard. I asked the right questions. I went and met the right people that could help me get there. And so that's a really big thing that I put forward to you is ask yourself the right questions. If someone says you can't do something and you want to do it, find out how you can, even if it's not the most traditional way to do it. You can do anything you want to do if you put your mind to it, and ask yourself the right questions and don't make assumptions that people think you can't. One of my big things once I got into senior management and hiring staff was hiring mums. They are extraordinary, yet the perception, and a lot of other people wouldn't ask these mums the right questions. They wouldn't find out the right situation that was going on in that woman's life. Yet I found that with the mums I hired, I got more work out of them. It was extraordinary. They were authentic and they worked harder in that time frame because they were only there from say 9 till 2 or 3. And I got more work out of them than I did some people that had the degrees. So ask the right questions. Don't make assumptions that just because someone is in a certain position or can only work a certain amount of hours that they can't do things that you want them or need them to do. Richard Branson was called dyslexic and no one gave him, his teachers didn't give him a hope. This is brilliant. Look at the man. He asked the right questions. He asked himself the right questions. He asked the right questions of other people to grow, evolve, and do what he wanted to do. And of course, we're forever learning and growing and evolving. I'm not saying stop that. Education is so important. But do the right education for you, the education that you love, and do that by asking yourself, what do I love? Find your passion and purpose. Ask the right questions, find the right study that you need to do, and be the extraordinary you that you already are. Elli has some collective wisdom that is just going to shine an even brighter light on everything that Heather and I have discussed today. So stay tuned and listen to what she's got to say.
Wow, that's the power of asking quality questions. Now, Heather shared something with you that I want to touch on, and then I've got my most favourite questions that I ask myself nearly every day to share with you. But Heather really touched on something important, and that is these days with social media and our access to information and news, there are constant posts about who's doing what and why. And I just want to suggest this to you. When you read something, make sure you go with your gut. You know when something sounds right for you. Just because someone famous is doing it, someone you love is doing it, someone you look up to is doing it, doesn't mean that it's right for you. So I went to a Tony Robbins event and I heard Tony say exactly what Heather told you, which is that the quality of the questions you ask yourself affects the quality of your life. And I have to be honest, I heard that and I thought, that sounds good, but I'm not really sure that's for me. I don't know if it'll make such a difference. But you know what? It's only lately that I've learned that makes a huge difference. And when you ask yourself a good question, guess what happens? You often get a really great answer. And I want to share with you some of the questions I ask myself when I get stuck. And by stuck, I mean about to create drama, about to respond in a way that probably I'll regret, about to cause an argument, that kind of stuck. You know, it happens quite a bit. These are the things, if I remember, to ask myself that can totally change a situation that could go really nasty. Does this really matter? What would be the next best thing to do here? How can I make this more fun? What would the best version of me do in this situation? Am I creating unnecessary drama? How can I do good here? I have a few questions like that, but I want to share my most favourite question. And this is the big one. Is this worth ruining a perfectly great day for? You know, when I ask myself that, I have never once said yes to that question. That's the power of asking yourself questions in the everyday moments. So we hope you've really enjoyed this episode of Concierge TV. Please share this with another woman you love. Join us next week for more rituals, stories, and collective wisdom. And remember, you are your greatest asset.